All right, so today we're learning the quadratic formula. This is another method that we're going to employ to find solutions. And guys, what are solutions? X-intercepts. So we're finding another way to find X-intercepts. Okay, so previously we have found solutions by factoring and by doing the square root method. Today we're going to be doing the quadratic formula, and the very first step is to make sure that it is in standard form. Okay, so let's look at today's worksheet. I'm just going to give some examples real quick. X squared plus 4x minus 3 equals 0. X squared equals 4x plus 2. 3x equals negative 2x squared plus 5. Okay, which one of these are in standard form and which one is not? The very first one, this is in standard form. This one right here, what would I have to do to put it in standard form? Yep, y'all got it. So I would move this 4x to this side, making it a minus 4x, and I would move this positive 2 to the other side, making it a minus 2. And then once we move everything, there's nothing left on the right-hand side, so it's just equal to 0. Okay, this one over here, in order to put it into standard form, I would have to move this 2x squared to this side, making it a positive 2x squared. And I would also, that's a plus sign. I would also move this 5 to the other side. So now it is in standard form. So guys, step number 1 is to always put it in standard form. Then we'll move on to step 2. Step 2 is to identify A, B, and C, and then we'll substitute them into the formula. Okay, so looking at example number 2 right here, my A value, we're talking about the coefficient. So what do you guys think the coefficient for the A term is? Yep, 1. The coefficient for B, negative 4, and C is negative 2. So you first need to identify what A, B, and C are. Okay, and then we're going to substitute it into the formula. This is the formula. And then you just simplify it. Okay, so we're going to do an example first. So we're going to go to the notes. I will do, can you read me this one? Thank you.
2x squared
2x squared minus 11x minus 10 equals 0. Okay, so this is our first problem.
Oh, 6x squared.
Oh, 6x squared. All right, let me change this to a 6. All right, so this is our first problem. Is it in standard form? Perfect. Okay, so now we just need to identify A, B, and C. My A value is 6, my B value is negative 11, and my C value is negative 10. Now we just use the quadratic formula. And as embarrassing as this is, I will sing the song for you because that's what my teacher did when I was y'all's age. All right, so the equation goes x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It goes to pop goes the weasel. Thank you. All right, so this is the quadratic formula. You can sing it to yourself every time you do it. That's why I remember it after all these years. Okay, so now we just plug in our variables. We plug in our numbers, sorry. So wherever I see a b, I'm going to erase that b and put in my b value. So my b value is negative 11. So I'm going to put a negative 11 here and a negative 11 here. I'm going to erase A and C. I'm going to erase my A values and put in my number for A. A is 6, so I'm going to put 6's in there. And then I'm going to erase C and put in negative 10. All right, now you just simplify. So I'm going to get x is equal to, these two negatives make this positive. So this will be positive 11 plus or minus negative 11 squared. Thank you, 121. Minus, now let's figure out, let me highlight this for us so we can see what I'm doing. I want to do 4 times 6 times negative 10. So 4 times 6 is 24, times a negative 10 will be negative 240. I didn't mean to make it so bold. All right. So guys, notice in here I have a double negative. So this will become a positive when I simplify. And then 2 times 6 is 12. And we're going to continue simplifying. So this is x equals 11 plus or minus the square root of, what is 121 plus 240? 361, all divided by 12. Now the square root of 361, I believe, is 19, but check me. Is it 19? Perfect. Okay. So we can continue to simplify. This is the same as 11 plus or minus 19, all divided by 12. So guys, I'm going to get 2 answers. My first answer, I'm going to do, and let me highlight it for us. My first answer, I'm going to do 11 plus 19 divided by 12. So 11 plus 19, what is that? 30? Uh-oh. So I'm going to have 30 divided by 12. Okay. 30 divided by 12. 2.5, or we can keep it as a fraction. I'm going to divide both the top, the numerator, and the denominator by 6, and I'll get 5 halves. Or you said 2.5, that's fine as well. So if I were to graph this, this is the x-axis. I know one solution will be at 2.5 right there. That's one of my x-intercepts. And then the other one, next I'm going to do, let me highlight for us. I'm going to do 11. Oh, that was bad. Oh, perfect. I'm going to do 11 minus 19 divided by 12. So what's 11 minus 19? Negative 8. So I get negative 8 divided by 12. So I'll divide both the numerator and the denominator by 4, and I get x equals negative 2/3. X is negative 2/3. So that will be somewhere between 0 and negative 1. I'll just estimate it right here. So that means my graph would look something like this. It would go through that point there. So those are my x-intercepts. All right. Would you guys like another example, or you guys want to try this on your own? Want to try? Okay, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to let you guys work on it for a bit, and then we'll come back.
No, you would just.
All right, can someone read me number 6, please? Equals 10x. All right, so guys, is this in the standard form? Nope. So first we need to put it in standard form. So I'm going to put it as 8x squared minus 10x equals 0. What I did was move this to the other side, and it changes the sign when you do that. All right, now we're going to identify A, B, and C. So my A value is 8. My B value is negative 10. My C value is 0 because I don't have one. And now we'll use the quadratic formula. And it's always the same. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we substitute. Okay, so I'm going to erase my b value. And the b value they gave me was negative 10. So I'm going to put negative 10 and negative 10. My a values are 8. So I'm going to put in 8. My a value is 8. And then my c value is 0. So erase that and put a 0 there. x, we just simplify. So I'll have x equals, these two negatives make a positive. Negative 10 squared is 100. This will just go away because 32 times 0 is just 0. All over 2 times 8 is 16. All right, from here, we'll get x equals 10 plus or minus, what's the square root of 100? 10 over 16. So I'm going to have two answers. First, I'm going to do one where I add 10. So 10 plus 10 is 20, so I'll get 20 over 16 as one of my answers, and always simplify. So I'm going to divide the top by 4 and the denominator by 4. So I'll get 5/4. That's one of my answers. And then the other version, I'm going to subtract this time. So 10 minus 10 is 0. So I get 0 divided by 16, which is just 0. So those are my two x-intercepts. Those are my two answers, my two solutions. Okay, one more thing before we get started, guys. Sometimes when you simplify, let's pretend that we get something like this. Negative 12 plus or minus the square root of, give me a number. Give me a number that's not perfect. Bigger. I'll choose it. Let's do 54. Let's do 54. Okay, so a lot of students got confused right here. Well, the square root of 54 is not a perfect whole number. So what you're going to do is you have to simplify the radical. So maybe this can be, what, 9 and 6? And this can be 3. Oh, we know what the square root of 9 is. So the square root of 54 can be rewritten as the square root of 9 times the square root of 6. The square root of 9 is just 3. So this is how we would write our answer. We would write this as negative 12 plus or minus 3 square root of 6 divided by 4. Okay? Now, let's pretend I didn't have a 4 here. Let's pretend I had, let's say I had 9 right here. Okay, now this is what I want you to notice. We're not done simplifying. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to cross that out. We can divide all of these numbers. I can divide the negative 12, the 3, and the 9 all by the number 3. So we need to simplify this whole thing. Don't just leave it like this. You would have to do negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. 3 divided by 3 is just 1, so you're just left with the square root of 6. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so this would be your simplified answer. Okay? So make sure you remember, simplify your radicals like we did here. And also, if all 3 numbers can be divided by something, make sure you simplify it. Okay? All right, you don't mess with the square root part. Don't mess with that. It's just the number in front of the square root. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. You guys are going to practice. All right, one last thing that I want to add, because I walked around and a lot of people have this question. Let's say I have something like this. We're getting confused on this part right here. So some advice that I can give you is to just box this part right here and figure out what the value is in this box, okay? So 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive 8. So what's in this box is worth 8, okay? Then just continue everything else. 4 squared is 16, and we're subtracting, okay? So it might help you to just box these numbers, calculate what it is, and then subtract it, okay? All right, so I'll just pause there.